So welcome everyone to Yin Yoga. I'm very happy to be with you all this evening. And we are going to start lying down. So welcome, welcome. Bring yourself right down onto the ground. And what I'm inviting you to set up for yourself is to grab a bolster and 2 blocks. If you don't have those props handy, make a bolster with a rolled up towel or blanket. Improvise blocks with a pillow or a book. And I'm inviting you to bring your heels right up onto the blocks and wedge that bolster back so that it's supporting the tops of the thigh bones or the bottoms of the thigh bones. And then invite your body to just lay down. And as the body finds this reclined position, take another moment to scan around and ask yourself if you could get a little more comfortable. Does it feel okay to stand into the back of the head and lift and shift each shoulder blade a little bit further down the back body? And really gentle roll the head a little side to side, relaxing at the back of the jaw, feeling the low jaw fall away from the upper jaw, and then the head relaxing back at center. The chin falls towards the chest just a little bit, and you feel the neck spine get a little bit longer, your cervical spine. Notice the shoulder girdle and invite the arms to relax a little more. The hands can be open out to each side like wings, or if you want to bend the elbows and allow the hands to rest on the body. And then notice the sacrum, that triangular shaped space at the base of the spine, and really feel the whole buttocks relaxing into the earth and the softening of the pelvic bowl. Leg bones stretching out from the hip sockets, but they're supported. The heels resting heavy on your blocks, ankles, toes. Let yourself really inhabit your body. Feel all the parts of you touching earth and lean straight down into those places. And nice and easy, you begin to connect a little more with your breath. First, just noticing, oh wow, this body is breathing me. That soft rise and fall of breath happening for you. And then connecting your awareness, your will to the breath practice. Exhale and let all the breath pour out of you. And as you breathe in, send the breath down to your belly. Let the belly swell. Keep breathing in, feel it rise up into your rib cage. Take the breath all the way up to your collarbones. And exhale, chest, ribs, low belly. Breathing in, belly, rib cage, upper chest. Exhaling, top to bottom. Inhale, belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, low belly. And stay with this breath practice for about 4 or 5 more times in your own spacious rhythm. And if it feels good to stay active with your 3-part breath, stay there. Or by and by, release the doing of the breath. Settle deeper into the posture. I'm going to share with you a poem by Dana Falls. It's called The Inner Nature of the World. The night's depth draws from me this truth. It's not my obedience that is useful to the universe, but my freedom. It's not compliance and passivity that feeds the infinite, but passion, conscious action, the magnetic attraction and repulsion of desire seen through clear eyes. If I am scared and mute, I lose the opportunity to see the inner nature of the world revealed as awareness and energy. Only by betting on myself can I live the full expression of singularity and oneness. Only by daring to be free can I live into my awakening. And take 2 more nice full breaths in and out of this body. And if your hands have been spread wide on the floor somewhere, just bend at the elbows and let the hands come to rest anywhere on the belly or the chest. And ask your body, sweetheart, what am I practicing for this evening? How can I be of highest service to my highest self? And let an intention bubble up from the inside. And we're going to lift these intentions with the sound of Om and really lean into the floor to feel the vibration of that sound. So as you're ready, take a deep breath in. Really good. From there, bend your knees one at a time and just bring your feet to standing on that bolster and pause there for a moment. And then leave the left foot standing on the bolster and bend your right knee in towards your chest, interlacing your fingers over that front of the right shin bone. Or if it feels more accessible to the body, hold on to the back of the leg. And then you allow for the weight of the arms to just hang heavy towards the floor. Slacken the back of the jaw. And breathe. Noticing if by engaging the arms, you've somehow cocked the chin up towards the chest. And again, just heavying the chin so that the back of the neck finds its full length. The brain rests back in the skull, the jaw is soft, and you feel that compression, the right thigh bone against the belly. And how does it feel to take your breath into where belly and thigh merge? In this yin practice, we're inviting in that primary practice of muscular passivity, the stillness of the bones. But can you tune into the movement of the breath body and the textures that rise in the long holds that come with the yin practice? We've got some really good compression happening there in the hip. By and by, you might notice bits of achiness or textures emerging. Often achiness can be the rehydration of connective tissues that need it. So as long as you can breathe deep into the feels, just let yourself do that. And that conscious movement of the breath in the right belly there, where thigh meets belly, is not only working with the compression in the hip, but we're also massaging gently the ascending colon, the right side of large intestine, as it rises up the right belly under the thigh. Let your breath mix and mingle with the posture supporting this digestion. And if where you are feels like a really juicy growing edge, I want you to stay right here. Otherwise, for the second half of this posture, we're going to transition to any variation of happy baby, taking that right knee and letting it widen out to the right side, and then slide your right hand down the shin bone. And for a moment, your elbow is inside the knee. Just hold on to your ankle or the top of your shin and feel how the weight of the arm contributes to this shape. Notice the hip, what feels the same, what's different. And you can stay here or lift that right heel over the knee, taking hold of the outside edge of the right foot, or maybe it's the big toe or the back of the thigh. And with that right leg wider than the rib cage and the left foot still elevated on your prop there, just notice, oh yeah, my right knee is reaching towards the earth. And you breathe. And in these last few moments in this shape, come back to your 3-part breath. Exhaling all the breath out and inhaling into the belly, the ribs, the upper chest. Exhaling, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe out 3, 2, 1. Good. As you're ready, release the right foot and heel toe your left foot a little closer to the middle of your bolster. Lay your right ankle across the left knee and take your hands onto your thighs and slide the heels of the hands down to where your leg bone meets your hip socket. And then just inhale and slowly, gently lengthen the right arm and feel. You can even cup the thigh a little more and let the fingers invite an exterior rotation of that right femur bone. So you're drawing the bone away from the body, letting the right hand just kind of inch its way up the thigh towards the knee, not pressing on the knee joint itself. A little self-massage here. You can do that a couple times. Heel of palm takes a little walk up the inner thigh. Might be some tenderness there. And then pause and notice already that with that left foot elevated, you are in a supported figure 4. You can stay here. Or some might choose to lift that left foot off the ground, slide the right hand between the window of the thighs and take hold of the back of the left leg. Another option is to bring one of the blocks that was under the heel, have that stand on top of the bolster and be in supported figure 4 with a little more lift. Right, one of the most important parts of the yin practice of any yoga practice is finding your body's appropriate edge. That place where anything more would be too much, anything less, not quite enough. And then when you find it, you find your stillness. As we move through this season of winter, 5-element theory, the winter season correlates with the element of water. Water is the energy of creativity. And it corresponds with your second center, your second chakra, and this area of our hips. Notice where your awareness is in this moment. And what is your relationship to silence? The longer pauses. For some of us, yoga, one of the bigger challenges can be the physical, getting into the postures, sustaining them. Sometimes the edge is more in the mental body. How do I just stay here and present when, quote, nothing is happening? And so we will experiment with silence and let it be a little laboratory for, oh wow, well, when I'm not being guided, this is where I end up, right? Catching your patterns. And then using the tool of the breath, right? Breath, not only a mechanism for breathing this body, but also a bridge for connection with intelligence beyond our mind, those deeper places within us. So take 2 or 3 more breaths in and out of your expression of figure 4 or thread the needle here. And then when you're ready to release slowly, please uncross. If you're holding the left leg, let go of it. Left foot comes back to stand on your bolster. Right foot stands on the sky. And just for a moment, relax it all. Bend the right knee as much as you need for that ankle to float over the hip socket. Find your stillness first. Breathe there and then allow the ankle to awaken a little. A couple ankle circles. And then re-extend that right leg to come back to resting on the bolster. And take a moment again in your supported Shavasana just to feel the contrast perhaps between your right and left hip, right and left sides of your body. Good, and when you're ready, the left knee draws into the chest and you interlace the hands around the front of the left shin bone or the back of the left thigh. If it feels good to keep your right leg extended as is, you can, or if you want to mirror the other side, you can bring that right foot to standing on the bolster. Take a moment to relax. Again, the brain back in the skull, the neck, the shoulders. And to allow yourself to just let the arms hang on that left shin bone. And it's the weight of the arms that creates the gentle pressure of the leg bone against the left belly or your descending colon, the exit tract of large intestine. And as you relax and still your bones, your muscles, deepen your breathing. And again, let the breath really expand into the place where belly and thigh meet. Hands are holding the leg, but not gripping. Face is totally smooth. The night's depth draws me from this truth. It is not my obedience that is useful to the universe, but my freedom. It is not my compliance and passivity that feeds the infinite, but passion, conscious action, the magnetic attraction and repulsion of desire, seen through clear eyes. And again, you can stay right here for the last minute and a half of this shape, or if you want to bring it into half happy baby, the left hand comes onto the left knee and widens the knee. Left hand slides down the shin bone, elbow inside the knee, and you take hold of the ankle or the top of the shin bone and just pause. Feel that. And you can stay right here, or maybe you lift the left heel over the knee, taking hold of the outside edge of the foot or the big toe or the back of the left thigh. And allow a little time here in half happy baby. Half stirrup, as it's called in Yin. Exhaling all the breath out. Breathing in 1, 2, 3. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe out 3, 2. If right leg is long, bend the knee. Everybody step your right foot a little closer to the middle of your bolster, and you might want to put a block on top, make the right foot a little higher. We release the left ankle to lay across the right knee, finding figure 4 shape with that right foot slightly elevated. Bring your hands onto your leg bones and let the heels of the palms slide all the way down to the hip crease, and then lengthen the arms into the thighs and feel that gentle opening in the low back. And then how does it feel to kind of make a C cup with the hand, like a little C, and cup your thigh and just walk the heel of the palm up that kind of middle line where maybe the inseam of your pants is, up towards the knee. Please don't press hard on the knee joint itself, but like let the left heel of the palm just be a little masseuse, taking a walk. There's tender places, take the breath here. Got several meridians that run up the inseam of the leg. Liver, spleen, and kidney, I believe, and winter is kidney. Good. And then let the hands really relax and notice, oh, is this my appropriate edge? Here, a little bit supported, or do I want to lift that right foot off the ground, interlace the hands behind the back of the right leg, and come in to thread the needle on this side? Take your time, explore the options with or without props. And when you find that place where the body says, yes, please stay here, that's where you stay. Madonna Fallon's poem offers us this beautiful invitation towards freedom. Freedom as a means of fullest expression of self. And yogic philosophy suggests that we find freedom through our relationship to the mind. Right. Our experiences are quite simply our perception. And deepening one's awareness expands our scope, our point of view. So again, we will work with silence, because it's in silence we notice where the mind can drift. And when you catch yourself in story with the mind or elsewhere, and just notice, oh, there I am. And catch a ride on the next breath and take it back into your sense body. Seeking to connect with more of your own wisdom. Exhale all the breath out. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe out 3, 2, 1. Left foot releases, or if you're holding the right thigh, release the right leg and then allow that left foot to stand on the sky. Pause in stillness, let the knee bend a lot so the heel can just float over the hip and breathe. And then awaken through the ankle, point, flex, draw a couple circles, open and close the mouth. Really good. And then bring that left foot down to the ground. Use your feet to just push your props out of the way and let the arms reach up overhead. With the hands reaching up above you, you'll feel how the low back got much larger curve. So there's a big part of back that's not touching the floor right now, and just allow for that spaciousness. Might feel good to yawn here. Really good. And then bend your left knee, stand your left foot on the ground and just push off the ground and let yourself roll right onto your belly. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose on the belly. Before we climb into Sphinx, just let yourself rest. Bring one of your cheeks to the floor. Arms can be spread, or you can make a pillow of the palms. And take a moment to just let your front body sink into the ground. Really let yourself merge. Really good. And then wag your tail feathers side to side. And as you wag the tail, notice the feeling of your femur bones rolling across the ground. Notice the movement all the way down to the ankles. Let it be really swish, 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 swish. And then bring your tail feathers to stillness and let the heels land where they land. Right, whether our toes point inward or outward has a lot to do with the shape of the top of the femur bone and how it fits into the shape and size of your hip socket. It's not a right or wrong thing. Yin really encourages you to grow your awareness of your bones. And then when you're ready, bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, and you can take hold of the top of either of opposite shoulder heads to just inch your elbows to your shoulder width distance apart. And then release the hands out, maybe in prayer shape or maybe with the palms pressing down. If this is too much, feel free to slide those elbows forward any amount. If it's not quite enough, feel free to put a folded blanket underneath your forearms. And then pause and let yourself really relax, yin. right? So if you need to engage the glutes just for a moment to plug the pubic bone downward and tilt the sacrum a little, you can do that, but then relax the glutes and the upper thighs. Right, you notice that your collarbones are long like the short end of the yoga mat there, but you're not ballooning the chest in any way. And you let gravity kind of lasso the wingtips of the shoulder blades and they slide towards your back pockets, but it's gravity, not your muscles. And then feel the gaze is not looking straight down, but just slightly towards the horizon. So there's neutrality at the back of the neck. And bring your awareness down to where your low belly here is mushed into the floor, connecting again with second center. And exhale. And breathe into your low belly spot and send it under your pelvic floor and let it climb up your spine, rising up your back body over the back of the neck, sweeping over the crown, and hold your inhale between your eyebrows. A couple of heartbeats. As you exhale, the breath washes from the forehead down the front of the spine, back down to low belly, and you pause a couple of heartbeats. Inhale into the low belly, sweep it under the pelvis, let it climb the back body, up and over the crown, holding breath between the brow. As you exhale, it washes down your front body. Shoshuten breath or orbital breathing. And in these last 30 seconds or so, if and only if this body wants more option to spin the pinkies wider towards the edges of the mat, thumbs are pointing forward, you press into the hands to lengthen through the arms, coming up into seal shape. If you get here and you've engaged your glutes and your thighs again, it probably means back is not quite ready for this, so just let the elbows come back down again. If you can be silky with your breath here, stay with Shoshuten. Another 15 seconds or so. Good. With the exhale, bend your elbows, let the forearms come back down if they've been lifted. And then everyone bow the elbows wide, bring your forehead back down to rest, or maybe it's the opposite cheek, and resist the urge to shake out or try to fix anything you might be feeling in the low back. Just send it your breath. Really good. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, press into the floor, hinge at the hips, come to table. Walk your knees underneath your shoulders. And then pause there in table pose and invite the arm bones to sink a little deeper into your shoulder sockets. Invite the leg bones to sink a little deeper into the hip sockets. Let your gaze be neutral and soft. Let the belly hang. And then look down at your knees. Please lift and step the knees to about the width of your yoga mat. If you need more padding, lay a folded blanket under your knees. Big toes come towards each other. The hips drop back towards the heels. Now, before you melt, pause and look forward, and for just a moment, engage. Push into the hands to try to stretch your yoga mat long, and just feel how you shift out of the knee crease and into the hip crease. If you've got tender ankles or tops of feet, it might feel good to roll a little blanket underneath the folds of the ankles. And from there, allow the hands to keep sliding forward, the forehead to come down to earth, or you might need a block under your forehead. And you find wide knee child's pose. If for any reason of knees and ankles, body's just not able to be here, feel free to flip back onto the back body and draw your wide knees into your chest. Same shape, different orientation of gravity. Breathe. We're going to layer this wide knee child's pose with a twist on each side. So coming here to about our 90-second mark, we'll come into the first side of twist. If you would, you stand into the left hand a little, lift the chest and slide the right hand down by the right shoulder, flip your palm so you can see the hand underneath your face, and then shoot that right hand out to the left, coming down on your right shoulder and your right temple. Your hips are staying low towards your heels at this point, if body will allow. If you need to modify and take those hips further high skyward, you can. But if the body will allow it, we give the weight of your chest and the heaviness of your tail to the earth. And it might feel good to rest on right temple, or some might experiment. How does it feel to turn your head and rest on your third eye instead? Rest on your forehead. And you can stay in your passive breathing, or if you'd like to join me in another breath practice, exhale fully, please. And then think about your right lung and your right shoulder blade, and we're going to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold the breath right there, like your right shoulder blade where a catcher's mitt. Notice how breath and its retention can't help but continue to expand. And then exhale from the shoulder blade out through the right hand for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Breathe in, right lung, right ribs for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Keep watching, exploring. Exhale for 6. The bottom of the exhale, pause. And again, right lung, right ribs, breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale down and out through that right hand, all the way till you're empty at the bottom of the breath. Pause. And then to release, stand a little into the left hand, free the right arm out in front. Take a breath. The left elbow bends, left hand slides under left shoulder. You flip the palm so you can see the inner hand and shoot that left arm out to the right, coming down on your left shoulder and your left temple. You might need to lift and shift a little. Allowing the weight of the chest to really rest heavy on the arm. The hips are still relaxing back towards the heels. And yes, this is a longer period of time in the child's pose shape. So there might be some real textures forming in the tops of the ankles or in the hips or the knee creases. If you ever get to a point in the practice where you need to shift out, of course you can, of course you do. But if it's achy or uncomfortable, but you can still breathe and be present here, can you stay in the inquiry, right? Life is uncomfortable sometimes. And this yoga mat is the practice pad. How do I cultivate the mindset, the presence within myself, so that even when it's the stuff I don't enjoy fully, I don't have to escape with other habits of the mind or body. I can grow my tolerance for all of it. Exhaling all the breath out. Think about your left lung, your left shoulder blade. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, really blowing it out through the hand, feeling the tug of gravity, and hold the out breath. Think about left lung and shoulder blade. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Open your mouth. Exhale. Let it all go. Really good. To release, that right hand slides slowly under right shoulder. Press into ground, lift up through the chest. Bring the left hand under the left shoulder. Walk the hands forward, look at your knees, lift and step your knees back to hip width distance apart. And again, pause and table, letting arms and legs rest deeper into their sockets. Take your breath and awareness into any place that feels tingly or light or achy. And then allow for the toes to tuck under. Breathe through those textures. And then start to shift the weight back and use your fingers to reach down and really make sure you got the baby toe too. All 10 toes are tucking under. And then you walk the hands towards the knees. Now for some, coming up to kneeling is going to be too much, in which case you can leave your hands on the earth and just explore, okay, well, where's my growing edge? Or some of us will climb up, shoulders stacked right over the hips. And you take a moment here to breathe. We will not hold this posture as long, I promise. But especially in that long hold of the child's pose with the ankles and the toes in an opposite shape, feel here what it feels like to really open up the feet. If there's a lot of texture here, it's a really clear indication for your body that this is necessary, this is useful. And that doesn't mean you need to torture yourself with it. So again, if you need to hinge forward, you do. Or can you come right here with the breath right into the textures and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just 2 more breaths that way. Inhale. Exhale. So good. To release, extend your arms out in front of you. Start to curl your fingernails towards your body and hinge forward, bringing the hands down facing the knees. Now, if this is too intense, you can lift and step the hands a little bit more towards the edges of the mat. Untuck the toes. Feel what you feel happening there. And there's maybe a lot to notice. The textures in the feet and ankles as that release is, while the textures in the wrists and the forearms begin. This shape is wonderful to work with releasing carpal tunnel syndrome. Those of us that spend a lot of time on phones and keyboards, really useful. Now, if you want a little more texture in the opening of the back of the wrist, you can just start to hinge the hips a little closer towards the heels. So much mindfulness, right? Appropriate edge is a place where you can breathe, where there's nothing rushing in and gripping to hold things. Last 15 seconds here. So good. To release, gently let the weight shift forward a little more. Let the fingers first point to the edges of the mat, the long edges, and then back up to center. Or to the top of the mat. Wag your tail off to one side. Allow the legs to reach out in front of you. And just pause in Dandasana, seated pose, legs extended, hands resting on the thighs, eyes are closed. Breathe. Whatever sparkle or light or heat or energy and motion you notice, just gather and store that. Good. And then we're gonna allow the body into a forward fold. If you know that you enjoy a little more support in your forward folding, you might grab again for your bolster. Bolster might come to rest in either direction over the legs, or bolster might come behind you to give a little boost to your tail. Lift and shift the fleshy part of the buttocks back behind. If your hamstrings are short, meaning it's harder for you to reach your toes, bend your knees, and you might even slide your support underneath your knees. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, tuck your chin in, round the body forward, extending into a seated forward fold. Yin forward folds are really a very different energetic than in our active yoga practice, where we lift and lengthen, or you might think, in a yang practice, a seated forward fold like this is about someday reaching the nose towards the knees, or the crown towards the soles of the feet. In yin, we round inward like a fiddlehead fern. It is as if someday you could put your nose inside your belly button. So the chin is really hugged in towards, not hugged in, but drawn in towards the chest. And you allow for the arm bones to spill from the shoulder sockets. And the heel bones are heavy in the floor, and there's length between the heels and the sit bones. The sit bones in the back of the heart and the forehead. Kidney bladder season, our bladder meridian, the longest in the body, stretches from the soles of the feet up each leg. It frames the spine, climbs up the neck, and zigzags through the skull. Just like water knows just how to flow from mountaintops out to sea, let the energy flow through you. Notice where your awareness is in this moment. Connect to your breath, your body. Witness your next exhale. Breathe in. Open the mouth side out. To release, the hands come onto the legs or your support, and you press into hands and let the spine unfurl, bottom to top. Really take your time with it. When your head bobbles over your tailbone, pause. Let the weight of the bones settle. Notice energy and motion gather and store. Really good. And from here, we're gonna come into a variation of modified pigeon, or if you want to come into full pigeon, you are welcome to, or sleeping swan as it's called in Yin. You're gonna bend both your legs. We're gonna start with the left leg in front and the right heel draws in towards the buttocks. So this is the modified version that I'm recommending. And again, if you want to take it all the way to pigeon, I'll guide you there as well. So when you look down at your legs, your left shin bone is out in front of you, and then the right, so your legs look a little bit like a Z. You're going to turn your belly button towards your left kneecap and frame your hands around that left knee. You take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, you hinge forward over that front left leg. Some will come to forearms. Some might need a bolster to catch the forearms. Some will bring the belly all the way down onto the leg, and the arms can spread out to a T. If you want to find sleeping swan, instead you tuck the right toes under, press into the toes, roll the hips so the belly button is facing towards the ground. Inchworm your right leg back so that the right leg is long, and then bring the forearms down to rest, and here you are in pigeon variation. So whichever version your body says yes to. Right, and making sure that you're making that decision from the body and not from a shoulding mind. Right, freedom comes from that place of getting to choose what actually serves and honors you in this moment. Feeling entitled and worthy of honoring exactly what this body needs in this moment. If I am scared and mute, I lose the opportunity to see the inner nature of the world revealed as awareness and energy. Only by betting on myself can I live the full expression of singularity and oneness. Only by daring to be free can I live into my awakening. And exhaling all the breath out. Think about your left hip and your left low back and breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Notice how it keeps expanding. Space maker, light bringer. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Breathe in left hip and low back for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. One more time on your own. If it feels good to explore holding the breath even longer, do it. And whenever you come around to that last exhale, again, if you want to open the mouth, make sound, sigh, encourage it. As you're ready to release the shape, the hands come down under the shoulders. If you're in the Z-shaped legs, you're framing the left knee. And then you press into the ground and lift up through the chest. And gently release your posture, bringing the soles of the feet together out in front of you, making a diamond with the feet and pause. Hands come to rest on the shin bones. Close the eyes if you're willing and bring awareness to your central channel, that dynamic line of energy that runs through your center. Watch your body sort things through. Yeah, and then from that diamond shape of legs, when you're ready for second side, you just kick the left leg out behind you, and you've got that Z shape, right shin, left heel towards the buttocks, any amount. Turn your torso to face your right knee, bring your hands down onto the ground. You might need to lift and shift the hip back a little bit, draw the belly in just a little, and then fold out and over. Coming onto your forearms perhaps, or your forearms on a bolster. And you breathe for a moment and check in, is this where I want to be? Or does the chest want to sink lower to the ground, or do you want to transition into pigeon or sleeping swan by lengthening the left leg, tucking the toes under, lifting and shifting that right knee behind the wrist, inchworming the left leg back to find your body's appropriate edge, and then hinging over that right leg. Perhaps bringing support under right hip and forehead. All right, so whichever variation you chose, let yourself take these first few moments to really find that place you can stay for several minutes. And then find your stillness. Find your breath. In the silence, notice where your attention has gathered. Exhale all your breath out. Think about your right hip, your right low back, and breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. Breathe in right hip and low back for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale. Another time or two on your own. Good. Let your next exhale release with an open mouth sigh or a sound. Hands come underneath the shoulders and you press down to lift up through the chest. Again, freeing the left leg around to meet the right leg, soles of feet together, knees open out wide, hands come to rest on the shin bones, lean back, find your central channel, breathe. Draw your chin in towards your chest. Think about that fiddlehead fern. Really dive inward towards your center as you bow forward, coming into butterfly pose, Yin Baddha. Making sure there's plenty of space between your center and your heels. And we won't be here for full time, but just enjoying a couple big breaths across your back body, feeling that like the back of your heart was the high point of a cathedral ceiling. And let the breath rise all the way up into the rafters. And then the exhale spills out from the front body. Do that again, breathe into the back of the heart, all the way up to the ceiling. And then release it through your front. Good. Hands come onto the legs or the ground and you press down to roll up. Use your hands to close your knees like a book. Bring your feet to standing. We're going to come into our final two-sided posture on the floor again. Might feel good to bring a blanket with you. Let yourself come on down to the ground. Bring your feet to standing. Let your arms stretch out to T. We're going to come into a twist. If you know that you really love the feeling of a bolster between your knees or your thighs, or you want a blanket laid across the body, grab for your props first. And then stand into your feet, lift your tail, wag the tail to the right and sit down on your left buttock. Draw both knees in towards the chest, give a little squeeze, and then send the knees very slowly, paying attention, over to the left. And if you need to bring the ground up to meet you, please use your bolster. And then does it feel okay to stand into the back of the head and shift the left ribs a little closer to the left? Relaxing at the jaw, again, letting your head just give a half no and feel that rolling across the occiput. And then notice where the head wants to rest. Maybe the chin relaxes towards the right shoulder. Maybe the nose points more skyward, or maybe the nose looks the same direction as the knees. So we've moved through several postures where there was this energetic or physicality of compression, belly against thigh. We felt that in our child's pose, in our laying on the back and drawing the knee in. If you were just in the modified variation of pigeon. And so now we come into twist as a final support to this digestion. I know we aren't quite like bears in the depths to which we can hibernate in the winter, but in this energy of water, in this presence of kidney bladder, right? Kidneys do so much work to detox and cleanse the body. And so we give thanks to all the digestion that this body supports all day, every day. Not just of the foods that we eat, but this life that we're living. And send your breath like a river of life deep down into the folds of the twist. And where's your awareness now? Breathe, breathe out. Breathe in through the nose, send it all the way down to your root, the base of the pelvic floor. Exhale, open the mouth. To release, the right knee pulls in towards the belly. You send it back across the horizon. Left foot finds the ground. Right foot finds the ground. Stand into both feet. Lift your pelvis, shift your hips, and bring the tail back down at center. Separate your heels wide, lean your knees on each other. Let your hands rest where you choose and feel. Don't miss a moment. Notice the river of your central channel. Take 2 more breaths. As you're ready, feet come back to hip width distance, arms open to T. You stand into the feet, wag the tail to the left. Sit down on your right buttock. Draw both knees in towards the belly. Give a little squeeze, leg bones towards belly, and then send them across the horizon to the right. Slowly, slowly. Notice, oh, do I want the ground to come up and meet me? Bolster under the legs or between the thighs and ankles. Does it feel good to stand into back of head and let the right shoulder scooch over, right shoulder blade scooch over a little? Let the head find its resting spot. Smooth the shoulder away from the ear. Notice the weight at the back of the head and also the weight at the top left hip and how it falls away from the head. So there's length as there's twist. And the breath dives into the folds of the belly. And if you're willing, we come back to gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This body's tremendous capacity. Digestion, integration, assimilation. Storing and also releasing. And where is your focus now? Take another breath or two into this shape. And when you feel ready for release, the left knee will hug in towards the belly. Slowly let the legs travel across. Left foot finds earth, right foot finds earth. Press feet, lift hips. Shift the hips back to center, heels spread to the edges of the mat. Knees lean on each other, hands can rest on soft belly. Breathe from sacrum to back of skull and back down again. Let your breath move in as a salve. as a support. Gather and store the light and energy moving through you. If there are parts in this body that still feel tender or longing for extra care, whether that's your physical self or your mental self or your emotional self, send your energy right there. And if body now wants a final wiggle before we stretch out into Shavasana, maybe the knees want to head side to side, or maybe you want to take a final happy baby shape. Let yourself tend to whatever body is asking for. And then will you please maybe grab for that bolster one more time, slide it underneath your knees. Sometimes the bolster laid across the pelvis can feel grounding. Whatever little touches you most enjoy, warmth, coziness, darkness. Find your Shavasana. Good. And by, as you settle into a comfortable position, really let go. Let your body yield. Think about a pat of butter melting on toast, and let that be your body against this earth. And as physical body settles, send your awareness to those parts in your being that are light and fluid. Texture of breath, breathing you. Happy meridians, energy channels, a bit more clean and clear and open. Body's natural state of flow, restoring. And be the receiver of the gifts of your practice. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. This mantra is a chant for Ganesha, clear of obstacles. And let the vibration of those sounds reconnect you to the texture of what it is to be in your body. And invite your breath to deepen. Bringing in small movements, perhaps a yawn or a big stretch. Playing the piano with your fingers, wiggling your toes. Eventually drawing your knees in and rolling over to your side. Take a moment there to compliment yourself, congratulate yourself. Showing up to your practice. When you're ready, use your hands to support your transition back up to seated meditation. Take your time. Plugging your sit bones into your cushion and growing tall up from your root. Head stacked over your heart stacked over your tailbone. Central channel. Golden pillar of light. Scan around and notice what's alive in you now. How do you feel? Invite your intention to gong through your body. And it's from a place of deep gratitude that we ask now that the blessings and the merits of this practice ripple through us and expand beyond us, reaching into all beings everywhere without exception. May all beings know happiness and the root of happiness. And may all beings be free of suffering and the root of suffering. Sealing practice with an Om, full breath in. Jai Bhagwan. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice.